In this video, you'll see how to use the GETPIVOTDATA function to pull the total sales from a specific pivot table. In the workbook, I have a sheet with the sales data. On another sheet, I've created a pivot table that shows all the data, and then we can see each of the two regions and the cities within that region. I copied this worksheet, renamed it, filtered this pivot table to show just the north region and changed the layout a bit, and then created another copy to show the east region and a slightly different layout again. The naming, though, is consistent. Each sheet starts with PT for pivot table, then an underscore, and then the name of the region or all. I've got a dashboard that I'm starting, and I would like to be able to select a region. I have a drop-down list here that shows all, east, and north. And in this cell, I want to see the total sales for the selected sheet. To get an amount from a pivot table, you can use the GETPIVOTDATA function. And it's built in, if you haven't changed the settings, that it will automatically create that formula for you. So I'll type an equal sign in this cell, and then I'll go to the East sheet, look for the grand total cell, click that, and you can see that it's created the GETPIVOTDATA formula. And when I press enter, we should see this amount, 202,000, and that's the correct amount for the East. So if we look at the formula, it says GETPIVOTDATA, and then the name of the field that we're getting the amount for, then the name of the sheet, and the cell where that pivot table starts. And that's consistent. If we look at each sheet, the pivot table data starts in cell B4, here, here, and on the all sheet. So going back to the dashboard, we want to modify this formula so that the sheet name changes whenever this cell changes. And to make it change, I'm going to use the INDIRECT function. And the INDIRECT function will create a cell reference based on text. So I'm going to change this part of the formula. So it will keep the PT underscore, then change this part of the address and keep the rest. First I'll type INDIRECT and a bracket. Then I'm going to be creating a text string, so I'll put double quotes and then click after the underscore and put double quotes and a space and the ampersand. So that's the first part of our string. Now we don't want it to always say east, we want it to say whatever is in this cell. Then a space and another ampersand. You don't need the spaces, but I like to put them in so the formula is easier to read. So another space, and then this last part of the reference will also be in double quotes. So one there and one after the 4. A closing bracket for the INDIRECT function, and press enter. So here's the amount for the east because C6 says east, so it's going to that sheet. If I change this to north, it's 179, and we'll check that on the north sheet, and that is 179. The all sheet should be 381, so if we go back and select all, there's the 381. So you can modify the GETPIVOTDATA formula using INDIRECT to refer to different sheets within the workbook and pull data from a specific pivot table. For more Excel tips and tutorials, and to download the sample file for this video, please visit my Contextures website at www.contextures.com.